The best way to take out an active shooter is this, but this isn't always an option. Many states, countries, education systems, businesses, you name it, want to restrict citizens' right to self-defense. So when your right to self-defense is restricted and you don't have the proper tools to defend yourself against a terrorist, how do you stop a terrorist from killing innocent people? Today we're going to go into how everyday objects can be used to stop an active shooter from killing innocent people. As I've mentioned in many videos, the first thing you need is situational awareness. You need to know the difference between one single negligent discharge, a power transformer exploding. You need to know the difference between that and a gang-related shooting and a mass shooting. Gunfire relatively far away will sound more like popcorn. Gunfire that's close by will sound crisp and sharp. You need to know the difference between semi-automatic and full automatic fire. If you are not a gun person, I do not care. You need to know some basic things about firearms if you want to keep your family safe in today's world. No matter where you are in the world, you need to have some basic understanding of how firearms work. Not too long ago, I showed my own mother how to take a magazine out of an AR-style weapon, using this airsoft gun to demonstrate that. If at any point you are struggling with a mass shooter, you can take the magazine out of their rifle and then you can rack their slide to remove the round that's in the chamber. This will render his gun completely useless until another magazine is inserted and the bolt is sent forward. You need to know how weapon systems that mass shooters are likely to use work. You need to know this. You also need to know the psychology of terrorists. Either it be a nihilistic terrorist trying to kill people for no reason, or a state-sponsored or Iranian terrorist. It doesn't matter what terrorist it is. Their goal is to kill as many people as possible, most likely, unless they're engaging in some type of targeted assassination, or unless they have a personal grievance, like a hit list type situation. More likely than not, they're aiming for as many people as possible. It's also important to remember that time is working against the mass shooter. As he begins shooting, law enforcement is mobilizing. He only has so much time to complete his objective of killing as many people as possible. If the people resist or simply don't present themselves as a good target, the amount of casualties he'll be able to take are greatly reduced. So you have to identify what the threat is and where it's coming from. You have to orient yourself within the chaos and figure out what's going on. Observe, orient, decide, act. You need to make a decision of what you're going to do. One option is to run away. If you've determined that running away is possible, they're trying to get as many people as possible. So exfiltrating the hot zone, getting the fuck out of Dodge is probably your best bet if you can do it. Are there people there with you that you're worried about? These are things, you know, is your kid there somewhere? These are things you got to think about. You might be able to get out of there, but what about your loved ones? The layout of the building you're in may not allow you to run away. There may be multiple shooters. It goes without saying that if you do have your Second Amendment, you should have an anti-terrorism counter-assault strategy ready to go, 100%. If you're a felon, I recommend that you have access to a big-ass knife in your vehicle so that you can use it if you ever needed to in a situation like this. When we talk about barricading, most people think literally keeping a door from opening. This is not necessary. It's good, but it's not necessary. Having furniture piled up in a way to make it to where somebody loaded down a fucking tactical gear can't easily walk through, it's enough to make him keep walking and pick another location. Somebody with bulky tactical gear doesn't want to go into a room full of people that'll probably fight back that's been barricaded with furniture. A mass shooter has studied and gotten inspiration from other mass shooters, and he knows a thing or two. He's training just like you are, and I want you to remember that. He's training just like you are, and if he sees a room that's barricaded with a bunch of furniture stacked up against the door, he's not going to go into that room. The people in that room are going to fight, and he knows that. If he's got even an ounce of sense, which if he's looking like this, he's probably got some kind of plan. Okay, I'm just letting you guys know. So he knows not to go in that room because He knows that that's the room that's going to fight back. There's a bunch of barricades, a bunch of furniture, stuff like that. That's a major deterrent. He's going to try to go on to the next room. And hopefully the next room is barricaded too. And hopefully he barely gets anybody, and hopefully the police put his ass down. That's the goal. If you've got a population of people that's fighting back, there's only so much that this mass shooter can do. It's good for stopping fires, but it's also good for creating a smoke screen. Many ways you can use this. Boom! Fire extinguisher all day. A mass shooter's worst enemy is a fire extinguisher. Let's not forget the deodorant in the eyes trick. You know, let's not forget that. Put some deodorant in his eyes. If you got pepper spray, that's even better, of course. If every single person grabs one of his legs and one of his arms and somebody goes for his rifle, you can quickly gain control of him. If you see that the shooter has a pistol that's not in a good retention holster, I highly recommend you pull it right out and use it against him. With proper knowledge of the shooter's rifle, anybody can take his ammo away from him. When trying to subdue a mass shooter, you should take advantage of any extra weapons that he keeps on his load-bearing equipment or body armor. As demonstrated in the previous video, anything you can throw over his head can be useful. This is a thermos. You can keep boiling hot water in it and you can throw it on the bad guy. This thermos also makes an excellent impact weapon. A good hit from something like this could knock a person out. Under the correct circumstances, a mass shooter's gear can become a liability. Pull the boonie hat over his eyes if you can. If possible, take his weapon and rotate it to where the sling becomes a liability. Rotate the weapon in a circle, using it as like a tourniquet to tighten the sling around his own neck. The simple act of me turning the rifle is leading me to choke him out with his own sling. Alright, so you don't want to actually shine the shooter with a bright flashlight because he'll identify the light source and then he'll shoot you. But in terms of taking a very bright flashlight and staging it toward the entrance, staging it where the mass shooter is going to come in from, and a lot of flashlights are magnetically backed and allow you to stick them to stuff. This will put you in a situation where you can expose the enemy to danger while also minimizing danger to yourself. If he shoots at the light, he's not actually going to hurt anybody. Police radio chatter is a very good distraction. If they hear police radio chatter, they're going to assume that a police officer's nearby. I've seen Bluetooth speakers used in all types of creative ways against criminals, and you definitely could also do it against a mass shooter under very specific sets of circumstances. You could definitely use this thing to confuse, distract, or at least delay a mass shooter. We have you surrounded. Put the weapon down now. If you get a megaphone and you say something like, "We have you surrounded," you're in pretty good shape. You'll at least delay him. If you're at sporting events or anything like that, there's probably a megaphone somewhere. You can use the megaphone, or you can use the PA system, or wherever you're at, you can use whatever loudspeaker you have access to use subterfuge to make the person think they're surrounded. At a bare minimum, you'll delay him. You might even get him to off himself, because he doesn't want to fight people that will fight back. Statistically speaking, they're usually going to unalive themselves if they believe they're outnumbered and somebody's going to fight back. If they think the police are there, they're not going to want to keep fighting. They're probably going to unalive themselves, or they're going to surrender. Megaphones have sirens on them. Don't forget that. Oh, guess what else these radios can do? Throw it down and run. That should buy you some time. Megaphones, weather radios, Baofeng radios, and even walkie-talkies tend to have an alarm feature. Guys, I hope you take this information seriously and be ready for if something like this ever happens. Show this video to your family and make sure they're aware of the different strategies available to them to fight back. And ultimately, remember, they're looking for a crowd. They're looking for the greatest number of casualties possible. Deny them that. Don't give them a crowd. Make sure everybody splits up. And then make sure if you have rooms, make sure they're barricaded. Make sure you get objects that you can use to fight back. Distraction, deception, everything you can do to distract, deceive, fight, deny, block access, everything you can do to make it harder for him to kill people is what you need to do. If you have anything that I forgot to mention, leave it in the comment section because I'd be interested in hearing about it. Jordan Jareb signing off. Stay ready, stay prepared.